Hey guys, this is Mrs. Gilbert. I'm going to go over the Law of Signs Ambiguous Case worksheet that you hopefully just turned in. And so as always with homework, the same thing is going to apply here. I just want you to try it. Homework is almost always graded for completion and not correctness. So several of you kind of messaged me on Google Classroom over the last couple of days since you started this assignment with some questions. And so I don't want you to feel like because you're turning it in and I'm looking at it, that you have to have them all right every single time or you're going to lose points. I'm grading homework just the way I always have. So I'm looking at it, making sure you're showing work, making sure you are answering all of the questions, making sure it looks like you put in some effort, but it doesn't have to be correct all of the time, every time. I am trying to kind of look at them and see for my own knowledge, like, oh, they got them right, they didn't get them right, but it's not affecting your grade. So I might, and I did, especially on the first Law of Signs first worksheet that you did, I made some comments, private comments to you on your assignment. So hopefully you got those. If I saw like, oh, you made this same mistake multiple times. So if I saw, well, you missed number 3, but you got all the rest of them right, and I thought this is probably just they typed it in wrong or they had a small fluke, I didn't say anything. But if I saw that you were making the same mistake multiple times, I did try to comment on that. And so, but it didn't affect your grade. You can see on Headmaster, I've already put in grades, not for the one you just turned in today, but for the ones from last week. So you can kind of see how you did. And so I do want to go through this worksheet. The ambiguous case is a little challenging. Once you get the hang of it, it's just the same pattern every time. And so hopefully you've watched the video, hopefully you stopped it and rewatched it if you needed to, like I suggested, and hopefully you were able to kind of get it because you could work at your own pace a little bit. But I do want to go over this worksheet because I know this is one of the more confusing parts of this unit. It's really the most confusing part of this unit. So if you feel like you're kind of good, then even what we do in the next several days shouldn't really get any harder. So that's a good thing. Okay, let me zoom in a little bit here because you can kind of see I have this like crazy setup in here at my house of how I'm recording these. So I'm trying to make it so you see the worksheet and not this like makeshift video stand that I've made out of books. Okay, so let's go through this. This may take 2 videos because I do want to go through all of the problems. I'm not sure. I'm going to try to keep each video about 12 or 13 minutes or less because it takes forever to upload them if they're longer than that. So I'm trying to keep them short. So I may stop and restart a second video like I did for a couple of the notes. All right, so let's look at number 1. Now these are all, this worksheet's about the ambiguous case. And so these are all, you're going to have to check all of these, but we're going to talk about that as we go. And so the key here is that these triangles are side-side angle. And if you remember back from when we talk about congruent triangles in geometry, we always say, where are my pens? We always say side-side angle, not a way to show triangles are congruent. And so I explained that in the last video of why this is a case. I had those little colorful triangle pieces. So you can always go back to that if you're confused about why. Okay. Sorry, I was using a pencil, but I'm going to switch to some markers. There's some pens here so you can see a little bit better. Okay, so as always, we're going to draw a triangle. The reason why we draw the triangle is just so we can see the position of everything. So it's not going to be perfect, and I don't want you to measure it, but I do want you to draw it just so you can kind of see where everything is. All of my triangles look the same, like they're all the same shape and size, but obviously the measurements are not accurate, and that's okay. So here's ABC. They tell us that angle A is 55. Okay, little a is 7, so I have A and little a, that's one complete ratio, which is a good thing, okay? And then little b, so side B is 25, so that makes this side C. Okay, this is a side-side angle. I know it's a side-side angle because I have a side, I pretend like we didn't write C in there. I have a side, the next thing I have is a side, and then I have an angle. So I have that pattern, side-side angle, okay? The angle that you're given is not in between the two sides. This is the only time you need to check for for law of, or for the, I'm sorry, this is the only time you need to check for in ambiguous case. I'm sorry, someone was texting me and I couldn't see my screen because this text popped up and distracted me. Okay, and so the only time you need to check for the ambiguous case is side angle. All of the other combinations that we have, there's only going to be one possible answer. Okay, but here with this combination of sides and angles and angle, there could be two triangles that have these same measurements, which if you're confused about that, you can always reference back to those little colored triangles I showed you the other day. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is find B. We know that because we have the whole A, I know little b, so I can find angle B. We know nothing about C, so we can't find that first. Okay, so I'm gonna say, and you're gonna show your work, 7 over the sine of 55 equals 25 over the sine of B, okay? I do need to see that proportion, okay? So most of you are doing an excellent job of that. Some of you need to show me a little bit more work, okay? I need to see both fractions and the equal sign. I have to see it, okay? I have to know that you know how to set it up, okay? We're gonna cross multiply. This gives us 25 sine of 55 equals 7 sine of B. You could have written that the other way, it would be fine. Okay, so I'm going to divide. A couple of you had some calculator issues, so I just want to show you how I'm typing that in. So I'm going to do 25 sine of 55. Make sure you're in degree mode. Okay, I'm going to hit enter there and then divide by this 7. Okay, so we get sine of B equals 2.9255. Okay, now to get B by itself, I have to do the inverse. So I'm going to do second sine of that number, and you could type it in or you could use second negative will give you the answer, and it references that last answer, and it gives me an error. Okay, when I get an error, I'm going to double check my work. Okay, I'm going to go back, I'm going to make sure I typed it in right. 25 sine of 55, yes. Divide by 7, yes, type it in. I haven't made any typing errors, so I double check my proportions. Those do match the triangle. So when this happens, it means there's no solution. Okay, don't think that a calculator error always means you did it wrong. Okay, always double check, because sometimes we just type it in wrong and it is our fault, but it doesn't mean that you did it wrong just because you're getting an error. Sometimes there's no solution. There is no triangle, okay, that you could draw that has a 55 with a 7 across from it and the other side being 25. It just would never meet up to make a triangle. You'd have like, you'd have a side here, maybe this is your 7, this is your 55, okay, up here, and if this is 25, then these sides just don't meet. Okay, it just means you can't get a side long enough here to make this work, is what it's telling you. So that means no solution. So you don't have to do anything. You don't have to fill anything in over here. There's nothing to do, okay? Let's look at example 2. Okay, so example 2, again, I'm gonna draw the triangle because it helps me kind of see. I am drawing them right here because if I have a case 2, I want to put it right here, but you could have drawn the picture here and put case 2 somewhere else, but that's why I'm not drawing it right below, but you could have this anywhere. So all of these give you A, little a, and B. Okay, so this is 55. Again, this is now 27 and 25. So the only thing that's different between these two triangles is that this side, CB, or little a, is shorter, or excuse me, longer in this one. So we're still looking for C. It's still a side angle. So if we get a solution, we're gonna check for a second one. So we're gonna set this up, 27 over the sine of 55 equals 25 over sine of B. So I'm gonna do 27 sine of B equals 25 sine of 55. Okay, I'm not going to show you the calculator step for all of these, but if you get confused, please feel free to reference back to number 1 or reference the other videos, or let me know. I'm happy to, work with you on that if you need me to show you that again. But I'm going to try to save time on this video and not show you the calculator step every time. So when you type this in and you divide, you end up with sine of B equals 0.7585. You do the inverse, and you get 49. So remember I said you could round degrees to the nearest angle. Okay, so B is 49. Okay, so I'm going to put over here B, 49. Okay, so now this is where, because it's a side-side angle, we're going to check to see if there is another case. Okay, so the way you check that is, this is acute, so the other triangle would have an obtuse B, is what we're saying, okay? So we're going to do 180 minus 49, and you get 131. So if there is a second case, this 131 would be your angle B. So before we even go through the process of writing A, B, C, A equals, B equals, C equals, I'm just going to see if this is even possible. Okay, so we already know that angle A has to be 55. That's not changing. These three pieces of information stay the same in both cases. So these are going to stay the same. So if I know A is 55, okay, and now I'm saying B is going to be, in case 2, would be 131. If you add those together, you get 186. 186 is too big to be a triangle. The angles in a triangle add to be exactly 180. So these two angles, we haven't even factored in angle C yet. These two angles are already bigger than 180. So this cannot be a triangle. So I'm just going to put greater than 180. So that means there's only one solution. Okay, you cannot, if that's how you know. Okay, you take your B that you found, or whatever angle you find, you subtract 180, that gives you your second option for that angle, so that's the 131. You need to check with the angle provided for you originally, can that even make a triangle? In this case, no, it cannot. Okay, so you don't even need to do anything for a case 2. This just has one solution, because what you got here, the 131 and the 55, they're too big. Okay, so we're going to then go ahead. We just need to find C and little c. If you know 2 of the angles, so we said B is 49. Okay, we already know A was 55. Subtract those from 180 and you get that C is 76. So then we're going to say, I'm going to use 27 over sine of 55 again, that's the pair that you know, equals C over the sine of 76. So we get C sine of 55 equals 27 sine of 76. Type that into your calculator and you get C equals 31.982. Write that in over here. This keeps it organized. Like, you're going to do a review sheet next week and you're going to do a quiz next week, and it's going to have like this set up, and that just makes it so much easier for me to check. Okay, so please write your answers in when you're given that. And then that's it for that one. Okay, I am going to stop this video because I'm at 13 minutes, and then I'm going to make a second video that goes through 3, 4, 5, and 6. So make sure you watch that so you can see those, because some of those will have a case 2, and I want you to see and make sure you're getting those right.